Hi there, this is going to be our Chapter 10 test review, and we're going to go and start with number 1. The question asked how many ways can choosing not a 6th grader occur, and you just needed to count the non-6th graders. There are 8 7th graders and 12 8th graders, which means there are 20 ways that you can choose a non-6th grader. Okay, if it asked for probability, then you would give the fraction, but this one just says how many ways, and so you just write down how many ways. Number 2, what would be the likelihood of not rolling a 3? That's going to give you 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6. That's 5 out of 6, which is really close to 75%. So we're going to say number 2 is likely. For number 3, tell if the sample is biased. George wants to know if the middle school sports should have more money spent on sports, and then he only asks the volleyball team. His way of determining this survey is definitely biased because he only asks a certain amount of people, and that's not representing everyone equally. Obviously, if he's going to ask the volleyball team to spend more money on school sports, they're obviously going to say yes. He probably should have done it a different way, where he asked every other student coming in the door in the morning, or go around at lunch and asking that. So number 3 is biased. Number 4, the strawberries in the field, that's going to be your population. Oops, excuse me. All the strawberries in the field is going to be your population, where just 75 of them will be your sample. Okay. Number 5, we have choosing a blue marble. There are 6 out of 12 blue marbles. Initially you may have wrote this, but you need to make sure that you simplify it down to 1/2. 1/2 is your correct answer for number 5. For choosing a green marble, there are 2 out of 12, which reduces to 1 out of 6. And then for number 7, not choosing a red marble, that's 8 out of 12. And then when you simplify that one by 4, you get 2/3. Okay? 8, tossing one head and one tail. This one is this right here. And we know it was tossed 24 times. That was 15 out of 24. Yes, that one can be simplified. They both can be divided by 3. So we have 5/8 as our simplified answer for number 8. And then number 9, not tossing 2 heads, which would mean we'd count 15 and 5. That's going to give us 20 24ths. And then simplifying that one, let's maybe reduce it by 4 to get 5/6. Okay? And then number 10 on this first page, a factory produces 120 music boxes. Out of 8 of them, 1 of them is defective. So 1 out of 8 is how many out of 120? And then once you set up your proportion, you can cross multiply. I know 1 times 120 is 120. 8 times x is 8x. And then I'm basically dividing both sides by 8. 120 divided by 8 is 15. Going on to the back page, number 11, you wanted to know the results of spinning an odd number. And so that means you're just focusing on 1, 3, and 5. We have 9 plus 4, that's 13, plus another 9, that's going to give us 22 out of 40. And then we do need to simplify that one. That's going to give us 11/20. Number 12, containing 60 marbles in a bag. Blue marble is 1 out of 5, so how many out of 60? I can see that there's a relationship between 5 and 60. If you didn't see it yet, you can still use your cross multiplying. 1 times 60 and 5 times x. Divide both sides by 5. X is equal to 12. For number 13, remember the fundamental counting principle. All you're doing is just multiplying the number of outcomes. There are 1, 2, 3 outcomes for your styles, and 1, 2, 3, 4 outcomes for your size. So 3 times 4 is going to give me 12 different outcomes. This one was kind of tricky because a lot of people think that the numbers 0 through 9 are only 9 combinations, when really you have 10 combinations because you count the number 0 as well. So there are 10 combinations for the first one, 10 for the second, 10 for the third, and 10 for the fourth. This is kind of like fundamental counting principle. You just multiply all your possibilities. So 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 is 10,000 possibilities if you have a bike lock with 4 digits numbered 0 through 9. Number 15, you flip a coin. Flipping tails is 1/2. Rolling an even number is also 1/2. Multiplying those together, we get 1/4. For number 16, a game has a deck of cards with 10 red, 5 blue, and 2 yellow. find the probability of choosing a blue and a yellow card, and it says without replacement. So the first card you choose is blue, and that's 5/17. And the second card you choose is yellow. There's still 2 yellows, but now there are only 16 cards. A lot of you started multiplying straight across right here. What I would tell you is that you can simplify one of those numbers. I'm going to simplify 2/16 to make my life a little bit easier. I'm going to simplify it to 1/8, and then I'm going to multiply. 5 times 1 is 5, and 17 times 8 is 136. This is simplified version, the simplified version. If you had something larger than that, it does need to be simplified. So just make sure you did that and got 5/136. The next one, we're talking about a cooler containing 10 grape juices and 15 cranberry. If you're choosing both cranberry, you think about the first time you choose cranberry is 15 out of 25, but the second time you choose cranberry would be 14 out of 24, because there's 14 cranberries and 24 bottles left. I would highly recommend simplifying both of these. 15/25 can be simplified by 5, that'd be 3/5. And then 14/24, if you just cut it in half, 7/12. So now we have this 3/5 times 7/12. And once again, notice you can cross cancel. The 3 becomes a 1, the 12 becomes a 4. Multiplying straight across, your final answer should be 7/20. Number 18, in a classroom, the probability that a teacher chooses a boy from 20 students is 40%, but this question is asking not boys. So if boys are 40%, I know that girls are going to be 60%, because both of those percents, if I took 100% and subtracted 40% from it, I'm going to get 60%. So both percents need to add up to 100. So if I'm trying to figure out how many are not boys, or basically how many are girls, how many out of 20 would be 60% out of 100? Okay, 60 times 20 is 1200. X times 100 is 100x. Divide both sides by 100. X is equal to 12. Some of you might have actually done it a different way. You might have actually found how many boys there were by finding 40% of 20, and that's still going to give you 8. Okay, so that means there are 8 boys, but we aren't looking for boys, we're looking for what are not boys. So you could just take 20 minus 8 and get your 12 that way. Okay? Last little bit, you to spin the spinner twice, the probability of spinning a 5 would be 1/6. And then spinning a multiple of 3, remember multiples of 3 is when 3 is multiplied, so that's 3 and 6, so that's 2/6, or you can reduce it to 1/3. If you kept it like 2/6, that's totally fine. You just do have to simplify it at the end. You get 2/36, which cut in half would be 1/18. Okay, that's going to conclude our review today. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we will see you next time for your test. Good luck.